good morning everyone. This is Mary Andy Coma and I will going to report about the lesson 3, which is the mathematics of finance. So first is, what is simple interest? So simple interest is a type of interest that is most commonly calculated on short-term loan. So simple interest is calculated only the original principal amount and it is paid at the end of the loan period. So the following variables will be used in our mathematical treatment of simple interest. So here are the simple interest formula. So I is equals to P times R times T, and then P is equals to Y over R times T, then R is equals to I over P times T. So I meaning is the interest, and then the P is the principal, which is the initial value, and then the R is the interest rate or the rate, and then the T is the time or years. We're going to answer the example 1. So what is the simple interest on 3,500 at 9.5% of 1.5 years? So the principal here is the 3,500, and then the rate is 0.095, and then the time is 1.5. To get the rate is i-divide na nato siya sa 100. Ang 1/2 equivalent siya sa 0.5, so kay bali 9.5 divided by 100 is equal to 0.095. And then sa times up, amura gihapon siya. Ang 1/2 ay dili na siya i-divide. Kay bali 1.5 ra siya. So the formula here kay ang taghanap interest man, so I is equals to P times R times T. Times na nato na sila tuyo. Ang principal is 3,500, and then the rate is 0.095, and then the time is 1.5. I-times na natin sila tuyo. 3,500 times 0.95 times 1.5 is equals to 4,498.75. So another example, example 2, if Angelo borrowed 23,700 at 12.5% simple interest for 2 years ago, how much is the accrued interest today? So the solution is the principal 23,700, and then the rate is 0.125, and then the time is equal to 2. And then formula is P is equals to times R times T. So the principal is 23,700, and then the rate is 0.125, and then the time is 2. Mura gyapon siya, we i-multiply na nato sila. 23,700 times 0.125 times 2 is equals to 5,925.0. So simple interest for fraction of a year. So in practice, simple interest is rarely used for loans of more than a year. Because of this, time may be given in months or even in days. Since time should be stated in years, it is necessary to express the month or days as fractional part of a year. So those if time is given in months. So if time is given in days, consider the two ways in converting the given number of days into a year. If days ang taghanap sa year, which is ang equivalent ng 1 year is 365 days. So here is the example 1. If P is 12,175 is invested at 11.1/5% simple interest, how much interest will it accrue at the end of 10 months? So month siya. So the solution is, ang principal natin diri is the 12,175, and then the rate is the 0.1125, and then the time is 10/12 kay month. So 12. So the formula is interest is equals to P times R times T. So the principal is the 12,175, and then the rate is 0.1125, and then the time is 10/12 kay month siya di mat siya kon days. So, first is i-times ana nato ning toyo 12,175 times 0.1125 times 10. Tapos, i-divide nato sa 12 mo equal na siya ng 1,141.41. So, diri example 2. Suppose Mr. Toledo borrows 17,900 on April 10 at 15% simple interest. How much interest is earned 190 days later? So, assume a 365-day year. Tapos, and then sabi is assume a 360-day year. Duha ni ka-solution. Then, the given principal is the 17,900 and then the rate is 0.15. So, sa 365-day year, anay ato isolve sa T. So, time is 190 over 365. 365 kay days ang taghanap. Then, exact simple interest is, so, formula, L is equals to P times R times T. So, the principal is the 17,900 and then the rate is 0.15 and then the time is 190. So, i-times nato siya 17,900 times 0.15 times 190 divided by sa 365 days. So, equal siya sa 1,397.67 na days. So, sa binasab, T is equals to 190 over 360. Then, ordinary simple interest siya. Then, L is equals to P times R times T. So, ang principal gapon natin is same ra, 17,900. And then, ang rate is 0.15 and then times sa 190 which is the time. So, 17,900 times 0.15 times 190 tapos divided by ang answer sa 360 which is na mo equals siya sa 1,417.08. So, computing the principal rate and time. In this section, we will examine the use of simple interest in computing the value of principal amount, interest, rate, and time. So, now examine the examples below. So, amo diri ang formula gihapon, I is equals to P times R times T. So, here are the following formulas na ma-derive. So, P is equals to interest over rate times time. So, ang rate is equals to interest over P times time. And then, T is equals to interest over P times rate. So, example 1. At 8.5% simple interest, what principal will earn 935 for 2 years? So, ang taghanap dire is the principal. So, ang formula ng principal is P is equals to interest over rate times time. So, the interest is the 935 and then ang rate ni is 0.085 kay ang 8.5 tag-divide by sa 100 which is mo equal sa 0.085 and then the time is 2. So first is i-multiply anay nato ang jari sa ubos which is the rate ang time and time i-times anay nat sila 0.085 times 2 which is na 0.17. And then, next is, i-divide na nato sila, 935 divided by 0.17, which is equal sa 5,500 pesos ang principal. So, example 2, how long will 6,750 pesos earn 556.88 at 11% simple interest? So, the solution is, ang taghanap diri is the time. So, R is equals to 0.11, then the principal is equals to 6,750, and then the interest is 5,156.88. So, ang formula nato diri is T is equals to interest over P times R. So the interest is 556.88 over ang principal, which is the 6,750, and then the rate is 0.11. So, mura gihapon i-times ani nato ang saubos. Ang 6,750 times 0.11, which is equal sa 742.5. And then, next is 556.88 divided by sa 742.5, which is namo equal sa 0.75 or 9 months. Kay man 9 months man, di ba kayang taghanap diri kay ang time. So, kibali month. Ang 0.75 tag times sa 12 kay month man, so ang di ba 12 raman ang diyon sa ka 1 year, so 0.75 times 12, which is namo equals sa 9, so 9 months. So another example 3. A man paid 635.10 interest for the 5,840 he borrowed for 1 year and 6 months. So what is the rate of interest given in borrowed money? So ang taghanap na subdiri is the rate. So given ang principal, which is the 5,840, and then the interest is 635.10, and then the time is 1.5. So the formula is rate is equals to interest over P times T. So the interest is 635.10, and then over sa principal na 5,840, and then the time is 1.5. Ang malagyapan i-times radjari sa ubos, which is the 5,840 times 1.5 equals sa 8.76. So then i-divide nato ang 635.10 divided by 8.76, which is namo equals sa rate na 7.25% or 7.14%. 1/4 siya kay ang equivalent ng 1/2 diba kay 0.50. So 1/4 siya kay ang point raman is 25.
And in this point, I'm going to tackle the compound interest, which we already encountered this in our senior high, I guess, and grade 11 in general mathematics. So it's obvious familiar na ini sa ato. Simsab sa simple interest. Ug sa ini na level mas challenging siya kaysa simple interest. So now I'm going to ask you guys what is compound interest, or what comes up in your mind when you hear or read the compound interest. Anyone who can volunteer to share your knowledge or understanding in compound interest? Okay, thank you. Let's proceed in the next slide to know what is compound interest. Compound interest is the procedure in which interest is periodically calculated and added to the principal. The interest earned during a period is converted to a principal at the end of the period because the principal and the interest are combined and treated as the new principal for the succeeding period. So I have a brief example of compound interest. So these are the interest example. I borrowed 1,000 to my friend, then I promised to pay it after in a 5 months. Will have 10% interest rate. So we know that after a month, my 1,000 that I borrowed will become 1,100, then on the other month will become to the principal 1,100 plus the another interest. So that's the compound interest example. So later on you will find out what is those formulas to use when calculating the compound interest. So in the next slide we have the compound frequency or conversion frequency is the number of compounding that take place in a year. The common compounding or conversion frequencies and the corresponding compounding or conversion periods encountered are listed in a table 1. Compounding or conversion frequency is annual, semi-annual, quarterly, bi-monthly, and monthly. And the number of compounding or conversion per year is 1, and for number compounding period is 1 year. And for semi-annual, the number compounding per year is 2, and for compounding period is 6 months. And for quarterly, the number compounding per year is 4, and for the number compounding period is 3 months. And for binomial, the number compounding per year is 6, and for the number compounding period is 2 months. 2 months. And for monthly, the number compounding per year is 12, and for the compounding period is 1 month. So next slide. The nominal interest is stated annual interest rate on which the compound interest calculation is based. Nominal can also refer to the advertised or stated interest rate on a loan without taking into account any phase or compounding of interest. Then, the periodic interest rate is the rate of interest earned in one conversion period. The following variables will be in our mathematical treatment of compounding interest. The periodic rate equals the annual interest rate divided by the number of periods. For example, the interest on home loan is usually calculated monthly. So if the annual interest rate is 4%, then you divided by the 12 and get 0.33%. That's your interest every month. So this will be our mathematical treatment of compound interest. P is principal amount of the loan or investment. G is for nominal interest rate. M, number of conversion per year. T, time period of the loan or investment. I, periodic interest rate. L, amount of interest paid or received. F is maturity value of the loan or investment. So that's the treatment of compound interest.